So after watching now 3 episodes of the Hashira training arc in Demon Slayer, I'm really scratching my head on why so many people, when it was initially announced to have a season, were like, oh, I don't see how this could be a season, because even if there's a lot of anime original content being added, it just kind of makes sense to have a arc where people are training, preparing, maybe seeing some hands get thrown like Tengen versus Tanjiro, very fun, while also probably building up some big battle that we're going to have as well. I mean, if memory serves, I'm pretty sure we killed Upper 4, but they seemingly with that eyeball were hinting at an Upper 4. I assume that's a new 4? Maybe? I don't know exactly, but that's ominous. But it's weird because, like, even if this was like a 3-chapter arc in the manga, I think it was like less than 10 chapters if memory serves. But like, my point is like, I just think this is kind of perfect. This is probably going to be my least favorite Demon Slayer season out of what we've seen. But this actually feels right. Like, there's not gonna be happy-go-lucky fun times once they make their move on Muzan. It's just gonna be depression, and I assume half of the Hashiras ain't gonna make it. I'm already worrying about Tanjiro and what he'll have to sacrifice in order to get the W. This just kind of feels right to me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm the odd one out, but this was an awesome episode. Honestly, it's kind of weird because the extra long episode, the double-length episode we got in episode 1, it arguably had the most intense scene, which was like the intro 6 minutes. But I said it last week, I thought episode 2 was even more enjoyable, and I'm going to say it here, I think episode 3 is even more enjoyable than the previous 2. So far, I'm liking this season the more it goes on, but I guess we'll see where it takes us. Of course, I have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full in-depth thought to this or any of these Demon Slayer episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, first things first, I loved what they did with the training. Now, they actually showed me more of the training side than I was expecting. Like, I mean, granted, it's the Hashira training arc, so it's kind of in the name. But I actually assumed what they were going to do, and what I said last week, was that it was going to be more focused on the different Hashiras and backstories. And what they did with this episode was basically just showed how the training is. And they basically raised the concern of, what's the point? What's the point of training all these soldiers who, yeah, sure, they're muscular, they seem strong at face value, but they're useless in a battle because they're just going to get annihilated. They don't have the courage, they don't have the mental state to deal with what they're going to have to. They're useless. And I think by the end of the Tengen versus Tanjiro and the others fight, it's kind of revealed, and I think they all, at least in that group, collectively have that determination of, hey, we know we're not going to be enough. We know that by ourselves, we will not be your level, that we could cut down these upper ranks. But the goal is to be useful, that we can be allies for you on the battlefield. And as we see with Tanjiro versus Tengen, even though they didn't win against this one-armed bastard, the fact that they all were working together, it showed the difference of how it was Tanjiro just getting kind of pushed back to them collectively bringing a counterattack towards him. Even if they didn't get a W, if they did right away, then there'd be no training left for them to do. So it kind of makes sense. And I kind of like that idea that Tanjiro's going to drop by each of these little training spots, see all the different Hashiras, their different training styles. Maybe we do get some backstory, some characterization with certain ones, but we'll also just see some pretty cool matchups and fights for characters we normally wouldn't see match up and fight each other. And I think that's actually pretty solid for like a calm before the storm arc, while seemingly also building up its own storm before this season wraps up. Like I said, I really don't know what's up with that eye, because as far as we know, we did kill Upper Rank 4, so either he survived or that's a new one, and Muzan's just like replenishing the arsenal real quick. Maybe that's just a scout. Maybe that's literally all 4 is at that point, is just a scout to be used. But either way, something's building, and I'm sure there's going to be at least one big battle that's for real in this season before we say goodbye. But the thing about Tengen's interesting, because I think for many of us, when we had the Entertainment District arc, we assumed he wasn't going to make it. And, I mean, that was my gut. Like, when he was able to walk away with his wives, I was shook. I was like, I'm completely baffled that that actually happened. And you could look in this episode and just see, like, even with only one arm and one eye, the man is still a net benefit for the Hashiras. But the thing is he did make a promise with his wives that, well, he would retire and have a normal life. That kind of, he's tired of that shit, you know? It's like, while yes, there's still that passion and you can see the determination, at the same time, he sacrificed a lot, and, you know, coming off of the train arc and just someone not being able to have a happy-go-lucky life and having to die, him being able to retire with his wives is understandable. And if he was to go on this last mission, he would probably be one of the ones who dies, because he is at a disadvantage. Even though he's incredibly talented still, he probably wouldn't make it, and his wives would obviously be widows. And I think it's interesting because you can really look at an episode like this and say, he's still such a net benefit, and I think maybe part of him deep down inside wants to still be more, but he is a retired Hashira at the end of the day, and I can't say I blame him with everything he went through. Though I do appreciate how the author, or maybe this is some anime original stuff, I don't know, but either way, I appreciate that Demon Slayer actually, like, even though it's been a couple of arcs now, they're still, like, very appreciative that without people like Tanjiro, without all of them, if one of them wasn't a part of the entertainment district, most likely their husband would no longer be there. And I think that's important to show that just because for us it's been a couple of years since that arc, for them it's probably been a couple of months, couple of weeks, however long it's been, right? And the fact that the next time they see him, they're still appreciative because they recognize without what he did and his friends, it would have been another train arc where yet again another Hashira didn't make it. Like, potentially where this arc goes, maybe it will be an extraordinary arc, but I really think the purpose of this arc is to just be good, a bit of a breather, while setting up something probably exciting that will happen before it's over. But I think while you don't need a full-on training arc, we don't need every episode to watch a bunch of nameless soldiers do sit-ups, laps around mountains and this and that. It is a good way to show all the different Hashiras, their different training styles, see where we stand as we collectively regroup and train, and most importantly, get our prime fighters fit in where they need to be, but also give them a collective backup crew that can, yes, are they gonna probably massively get screwed? Of course, but at least it will give us extra chances to get sneak attacks in or stuff like that. This season, I think is gonna be perfectly good. That's probably going to be my, thoughts on this season of Demon Slayer. Perfectly good. I think there will be a couple of moments that I'm like, damn, that's great and amazing. But I don't see this arc as pointless, or I've seen some people say it's a filler arc. Like, there's a lot of, weird comments that it's like, if you just come off of last season and jump straight into the final battle with Muzan, which is going to take a hot minute, and everything like that, that wouldn't really make sense. The characters have to heal. People want to make the argument, okay, well, we can just fast forward, only show a little bit. It's like, no, I think this is the right type of arc. I'm not saying I want this type of arc for 24 episodes, but 8 episodes, sure, why? I don't really see an issue, especially because there is a lot of characters, especially I'm assuming half of them aren't going to make it, so it's like, get to know them a bit more, see where they're currently standing, and how we feel going into the final hurrah. But that's just my feelings anyway. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode of Demon Slayer down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you know if I want to upload more, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we have Sharon, The Gentleman, Derek Nickel, Little Big Trouble, Trap Senpai, and we also have F Google, so I appreciate the support everyone. Please take care and have a good one.